We were running from Tarpon Point Marina to Captiva. We brought 98 workers a day. We were traveling the waterways a lot, and we had pretty much, established our, safety guidelines and criteria. And then
that procedure is the same whether it's workers or paying tourists.
Oh,
right?
yeah, absolutely.
You're still following those compliance and procedures that
100%.
protect yourself.
The workers they're customers. They're passengers.
Right.
And you got to treat all passengers the same. So
you hold the same liability whether you're helping someone out or providing a service.
Sure, absolutely, yeah.
Awesome. So how about you start us off? We're here with Captain Bob Rando. Please introduce yourself and what do you do?
Hi, my name is Bob Rando. I'm a U.S. Coast Guard licensed captain. I've had my captain's license for over 30 years. And I am a co-owner of Captiva Cruises and McCarthy's Marina on Captiva Island.
Awesome. And how long have you owned the company?
I've owned the business for 5 years.
Excellent. So it's a good milestone.
Yeah, it's a good milestone. I've worked there for 30 years. So
okay.
Yeah, it was, it's what I've kind of been cut out to do.
Right. Awesome. So as we move into about a year now, coming up next month, it'll be kind of that 1 year anniversary of Hurricane Ian that so many people know about. And Rhiannon was actually showing me some of the videos. You guys just finished restoration on some parts of the business and the boats, I believe.
Yeah.
Can you share with our audience, what that experience was like? I know the storm was originally aiming up in the Tampa area, and then it wasn't until about 48 hours before that we were like, okay, everyone needs to start taking action.
Yeah.
What was that process like for you?
It began well before that for us. So the Lady Chadwick, that's our biggest boat. We haul her out every other September for a Coast Guard hull exam and maintenance. And we usually do that right after Labor Day. So Tuesday after Labor Day, we went down to Fort Myers Beach to haul the boat out at Gulf Marine Yacht Works for our Coast Guard inspection. And then the work that we're going to do on the boat, we're going to sandblast the hull. She's a steel hull boat. And so we had prepared doing that. And in the process of our regular repairs, cutlass bearings and shaft work, we had the shafts out of the boat at the machine shop getting straightened, and we had the props off. We had those out getting straightened. We had our keel coolers out. Like that's the cooling system for the engines. That's basically a big radiator bolted to the bottom of the boat.
It's your one opportunity to make sure you don't miss a thing.
Exactly. So yeah, you got to plan 2 years out. Like you got to say, what do I need to do to the boat to make sure I get to our next scheduled dry dock?
Exactly.
Because you don't want to come out when you're not scheduled.
Yeah, that preventative maintenance plan is crucial in knowing what your operations are going to look like for that 12 months.
Exactly. We had a lot on our plate because in 2020, that was when we hauled out before. It was COVID. We didn't know what was going to happen, what our business was going to be like. Right. We were trying to hold on to as much money as we could. So we kind of didn't do a lot of the stuff that we normally do in that 2020 haul out. So we had a lot of stuff on our plate for this haul out.
Right.
And so in the process of doing that work, the Friday before the storm, the shipyard had informed us they were going to close for the weekend and they weren't going to open up until after the hurricane had passed.
Okay. And your boat, it's on the yard, on the hard at that moment.
It's on the hard, on blocks, pretty high out of the water.
But on blocks.
Yeah. And no shafts, no keel coolers, a lot of openings to the sea. And okay, let's just keep an eye on it. We had an event at McCarthy's Marina. My good friend Jimmy Burnshead does a coastal cleanup every year. Fun event. He turns it into a big barbecue after. We do, FWC is there. Go out and basically clean the shoreline. They also dive Redfish Pass and, get debris out of the pass. And it's like always the big thing to see who comes back with the biggest amount of trash. And so that was a pretty fun event that we had at the marina that Saturday. And before we left with the Lady Chadwick, we had taken all the furniture off the boat and we just had it on the dock.
Oh, wow.
So we had all the furniture just on the dock. It's all indoor, outdoor stuff.
Mostly benches.
Yeah, chairs,
some
tables.
Or
no, just chairs, tables, basically.
Okay.
And so during that event, we got there, set up tents, and everybody goes out and does their thing. I'm thinking, better get this stuff off the dock. I mean, best case scenario, it'll be really windy and something might blow into the water,
Right.
And worst case scenario, we saw what happened is the worst case scenario. So I started taking stuff down the dock. People are like, what are you doing? Like, why are you dragging that stuff down the dock? I said, there's a hurricane coming. And they're like, oh, it's not coming here. It's not coming here.
The common response from the person that never lived in Florida, possibly.
Yeah, right. So then the event was great. Got all the stuff off the dock and went off to hockey. My son plays hockey, and we were at Foot Hockey, and we were watching it on the TV in between the games. And we see it going. It's going west. It's going the Panhandle. Like as it keeps going west, it's going to Alabama. It might even be New Orleans. And it kept like shading to the west. And then like, all right, let's go to Hooters. So after the game, we went to Hooters and had some fun, and then went to bed and got up Sunday morning. I was like, turn the TV on. I was like, oh, that's
Right.
not what it looked like when I went to bed because it had shifted way back east.
Yeah. And in your mind, were you like, this is Irma type? Because none of us knew the storm surge implications until after. So
Right, sure. I looked at it and I was like, well, this looks a lot like Hurricane Charlie.
Okay. Oh yeah.
You had that high pressure over the central United States. You had another high pressure out in the Atlantic, and it just makes a funnel for that storm. And I was like, boy, this looks like Charlie. So I was at home Sunday. My wife was away. I was home with the kids, and a buddy of mine came over. We were watching football in the garage and drinking beer like we usually do on Sundays. And we started talking about the storm. I said, boy, this looks a lot like Charlie. And I said, would you mind helping me put up my shutters? And he's like, yeah, no problem. So Sunday I started putting up our shutters, and my neighbors are driving by and stopping like, what are you doing? Like, well, the storm's not coming here. I said, it could come close enough. And besides, if I don't put them up now, I won't have time to put them up because Monday I have to take care of the marina and the boats.
Okay.
And Tuesday we have to come up with a plan to evacuate.
Right.
So I don't have to, this is the day I have to put up my shutters. And they were all driving by thinking I was crazy. Monday, we made a plan to secure the marina.
And what does that look like? You bring all the captains in.
Yep.
All hands on deck at that.
Yep. All hands on deck. Show up Monday morning. We have a safe haven, a dock in Alva that we have for hurricanes.
Okay.
So we sent 3 of the boats to Alva.
And 3 out of 4.
Yep.
And then one's on the hard.
One's on the hard at the marina. Yep. At Gulf Marineways. Put the hurricane shutters up on the office building. We have a little building. It was built in 1905.
Okay.
It was a house on the
An
island.
original Captiva artifact at that point.
Oh yeah, it's it's got a little plaque from the Captiva Historical Society on it. We secured the building, secured everything around the marina. Anything that could blow around got tied down. Tied all those tables and chairs that I drug off the dock. Tied those to the building.
And is this like on the fly, or do you guys have a hurricane plan in place?
We have a hurricane plan in place.
Yeah. And you followed that for the most part?
Yeah. And 3 boats went to Alva. And I stayed behind with a couple other guys, and we finished securing the marina.
Okay.
And then I went to Gulf Marineways to secure the Lady Chadwick as best I could. So I don't have any shafts, I don't have any props, I don't have any keel coolers. So I started shoving towels and garbage bags down the shaft tubes. And
easy entryways to the hole.
Yeah. And duct taped everything. And then I put the cofferdam covers over the keel cooler intakes and bolted them down, but I didn't have gaskets.
Oh.
That was something we were planning on getting
right.
A week or 2 later, when we were ready for the coolers to come back in. The boat had been tented for sandblasting. So the sandblasting company, Naples Sandblasting, had all their equipment there. And I couldn't get the cover over the generator cofferdam because it's under the generator. It's like a 2-man job. So I got a couple bolts in it. And then the next morning I called my partner. I said, Brad is my partner. I said, well, you got to come with me down to Gulf Marineways to help me get this cofferdam cover over. And at that point, we're down in the boat, and I'm in panic mode now.
It was getting a little.
This is gnarly. This is Tuesday morning.
Yeah.
Yep, Tuesday morning.
You can feel it.
The storm is forecasted to go to Tampa. Right. It was still Tuesday morning, still going to Tampa. Put the cover, and he helped me bolt it down because I'm on one side with a set of wrenches. He's on the other side of the set of wrenches, and we're torquing it down. And And I remember being down in the engine room, like really like shaking, like this is bad. This is really bad. And that's my fear when we haul the boat out. I've always worried because we haul out the peak of hurricane season.
But you have to because season is right around the corner.
Yeah, that's the only time that business is slow enough to take the boat out of service. And a lot of people do their maintenance that time of year. You know, Key West Express was hauled out of the water in Tampa. You know, a lot of boats, the Sanibel Harbor Princess was hauled out. It's the only time you can
Able to actually work on your boat too because they're busy with recreational boaters most of the winter.
Right, sure. Yep. So I was leaving the boat and one of the managers at the shipyard was there and he said, what are you guys worried? What are you so worried about? You know, like, you guys, are you worried it's going to blow over? I said, it weighs 75 tons. It's not going to blow anywhere. You know, he said, what are you worried about? He said, it's going to float away. He goes, oh, it'll never, I've been here 20 years. Never happened, right? Nobody thought it would happen. Went home and had a little, discussion with my business partner and another friend of ours. And I said, by 5 o'clock tonight, we're leaving the neighborhood. Mm-hmm. We're going east. We have some friends out east that we can stay with. And we might as well go. And they're like, really? I'm like, oh, yeah, absolutely, really, really. So we did. We left 5 o'clock that night and drove out by the airport.
Okay.
And didn't really go to sleep that night, but, laid down, got horizontal. And Wednesday morning comes around and I filed an insurance claim. Before the storm hit, I filed an insurance claim just to get a claim number and have a head start on the process.
Oh, wow. Not many people probably think of that.
Right. I know. And like I said, I was worried about the worst case situation happening and it did. We saw what happens. So rode the storm out there. It was still kind of unsafe to travel that following day. And so
for the next 3 or 4 days, realistically, right, depending where you are in relation to the coast.
Yep. So that following day, we just kind of stayed put where we were. And then the day after that, we went back to our house. We had got reports from neighbors who stayed in our neighborhood say that water didn't come in the house, but they were all terrified and water came rushing in the neighborhood and, like I said, into people's garages. And
some of the videos we all saw, it looked like someone opened up a dam and now the roadways is a highway for the water.
Yeah.
There's straight access into the neighborhoods and all those low points where we live in a swamp, basically.
Right.
So it's pretty intense to view, especially as a homeowner or a business owner as well. Sure, if the business might have been an afterthought at that moment, but.
Yeah. Got home. Luckily, I had lifted my generator and put it on top of my workbench.
Okay.
So it survived. Got the generator going, got some power to the house. And then the next morning, we went down to the Lady Chadwick. So she was down in Fort Myers Beach. My wife we had spotty cell phone service, but every once in a while you'd get a text, and she sent me a text of an aerial photograph of Fort Myers Beach, and then in red she had circled where she thought the Lady Chadwick was.
So you had some aerial support at least.
Yeah.
To find that.
I didn't like where I saw the Lady Chadwick. That red circle
wasn't near the water.
Not anywhere near where she started out. So we went down there. The shipyard's all closed down. Actually, we couldn't even get down. I think the first day we tried to get down there, we couldn't even get down San Carlos. The next day we said, we'll get up early. We'll try it again. So we went down there early the next day.
In your mind, you're knowing, hey, 3 of my boats are safe in Alva, up north. The storm kind of just, washed around that. Nothing too crazy.
Yep.
But, the focus is on Lady Chadwick at the moment.
Yeah. So we get to the Lady Chadwick's and see it for the first time. She's traveled about 450 feet.
Inland, obviously.
Yep. Or towards Main Street. It was right there at Main Street of Fort Myers Beach. Boats everywhere.
Mm-hmm.
When she floated away, she went and took out, there was a building that had a roof overhang on it. And I think she took out that whole roof overhang.
Oh, wow.
Broke all the windows on the boat. And then it went over, blown onto the other side towards its starboard side and hit the travel lift. And then landed on top of an old wooden boat.
So walking up to that scene though, because we'll put over an aerial footage of what that looked like. This is, you've never seen that in your lifetime, probably.
No.
But walking up to Fort Myers Beach, you see all these boats. I mean, you have to be almost in shock, like, wow. It looked like just a swarm. It looked like a crowd of boats.
Right.
Inched into a tunnel. Like,
that sick, nervous feeling, your stomach is doing flip-flops and you can't really think straight and your heart's racing and you get up to the boat and you look at it and you're almost in tears. This is my livelihood here is gone.
Right.
How are we going to recover from this? And, got to look around the boat and was just, they basically would say, you can take a look, but you got to leave. It's not safe to be in here.
Electric and things.
Yep. Went home and, started thinking about like, is this the worst of it? Like, I've seen the boat and we have to somehow make a decision where to go from here.
Right.
Our insurance agent, who's been like outstanding the whole time that this is going on, has just been really pretty incredible service that we've gotten from them.
That's incredible because you hear so many horror stories of the zero response or it's, oh, you didn't have a plan in place, like, oh, screw you, we're not going to help you, I'm sorry.
Right. So, the agent works for the customer.
Yeah.
And he's, definitely worked for us.
That's awesome.
And was pretty amazing. So he called me, and he's, how are things? Have you seen the boat? Yeah, I've seen the boat. And he was like, yeah, I have, a marine insurance surveyor. He's going to be there tomorrow at the boat. Can you get there tomorrow?
It's a quick turnaround time.
Yeah, very quick.
You're worrying about 1,000 other things as well.
Right. Yeah. And, probably because I filed the claim before the hurricane. So we're like, everybody else is filing them, after us. And met the, surveyor there. And we're standing out there looking at the boat. He's like, this is a total loss.
Right.
And I said, it can't be. It can't be a total loss. He's like, it's badly damaged. I said, no, maybe at first look, it's badly damaged, but it's not as badly damaged as you think it is. And this isn't a yacht. This isn't a toy. This is a business tool.
It's a steel hull as well, right? So you don't have a gouge in, your gunnel or anything.
Right. So I said, this is how families pay their mortgages, their car payments, their kids' college tuitions. This is not a yacht.
Imagine if you had full control of your boat. You felt safer, eliminated the unknown, and you were able to forecast and plan for your boat's upcoming maintenance instead of being caught off guard. Can you imagine knowing exactly what is installed on your boat, down to the part and serial number on all of your standard and custom equipment at a moment's notice? Having instant access to your manuals while at dock or at sea, and provide custom departure checklists specifically for your boat and your crew. Imagine ensuring the safety of your vessels and passengers with instant access to send emergency alerts, and being able to ensure the value and the pedigree of your boat with digital logs recording the full history of every event on your boat. Well, you can with Vessel Vanguard. We are the leading maintenance and safety management software in the marine industry. We work with a wide range of marine industry experts, including yacht owners, captains, ferry, and tugboat operators. If you're looking to safeguard your assets and preserve your revenue, visit vesselvanguard.com and schedule a demonstration for yourself. The link can be found in the show notes below. We look forward to supporting you and your vessel soon.
It brings tourism to the economy here.
Yep. And I said, we have to figure out a way where we can salvage this. And he said, I don't know if we can do it. He starts taking pictures. He walked around. And he said, I'll work with you the best that I can. And then the next day, he sent me an email. So this is my estimated damages. This is what the hull's insured for. We should be able to get it into repair. And I was, grateful for that. And we just had to wait a long time because when the storm surge came in, I'm sure other things happened. There was a building on the property at the shipyard, and the building fell down. Mm-hmm. And it was supposed to be rated for Category 5 hurricane. And then there was an insurance investigation. Okay. And then I'm assuming probably some sort of a lawsuit. But we had to wait for the insurance investigation to be over before we could even touch the boat.
Well, the next game plan after that has to be, okay, how are we going to get this back to the water and, move forward, bringing it back to what was supposed to be done. And
well, so basically what we did is we went into the boat, and it did take on some seawater because I think it probably came in from not having the gaskets over the cofferdams. Not much. The engines didn't go underwater. Batteries didn't go underwater. So we wanted to get that water out of the boat as fast as possible because it's extremely corrosive. And I went and got, a 12-volt pump, a lot of hose and a lot of wire. And we just, started putting that submersible pump down into because we really didn't have any electricity. And we had flashlights on our heads and no means to make electricity and so we got flashlights and a battery operated.
While you're doing this, you're evaluating every piece of equipment down there. You obviously have your gen sets, your mains, but there's a ton of other pumps and
air
chillers.
conditioners. Yeah. So as we went, she's 5 watertight compartments.
Okay.
So we first went down the engine room, pumped that out, got a hose in there, hosed everything out that we could with fresh water. Sprayed salt away in there on everything
And there was no miscellaneous pieces that shouldn't have been in there that might have washed in from other boats?
No, thank God. Right? Yeah. Then we started cleaning out all the compartments. The other compartments were all pretty dry because they were all sealed up.
Right.
Just the engine room had some water in it. And then basically we had to leave. We left it. There's nothing we can do.
Yeah, now you just got to wait for the property to be able to remove it from.
Yeah, exactly. Yep. Just be able to navigate around the property. They had a lot of work to do there. There was a lot of, boats washed up there. There were, sunk boats there. There was a boat next to us. It was like a 65-foot Buddy Davis Sportfish that a guy had just purchased. He was taking it to Texas. It was a boat that had been on Fort Myers Beach for years as a private yacht for somebody. It was Dolph Fishing Buddy, really beautiful Buddy Davis. He just, took it there and wanted to make sure his shafts are straight. So he pulled his shafts out, had them at a machine shop, didn't plug the shaft tubes.
Right.
And when I was looking at our boat and I was looking at his boat, I'm like, how come he didn't end up where we did? Because he filled up with water. He sank. Yeah, sank his engines, his generators, did everything, right?
Yeah.
So we were lucky in that respect. But now we can't really do anything. But we had a lot of work to do out on Captiva.
Right.
So I got a ride out to Captiva with a friend of mine who is a home builder out there.
Did Captiva look like Fort Myers Beach? Was it pretty much flattened, or did some of the newer homes stay upright? And
so Captiva didn't get the storm surge that Fort Myers Beach and Sanibel got. Captiva probably got about a 3-foot storm surge.
Okay, compared to Fort Myers Beach was at almost a 10-foot mark, if not there.
Yeah.
It really felt like that in some instances.
Sanibel by the lighthouse, that was, devastated. So we went out to Captiva by boat, just my buddy and mine and the guy who took us out there. And we got to McCarthy's Marina and the docks were gone.
Right.
We kind of found a place and there was so much debris in the water and we were wearing I never wear a life jacket when I'm on a boat. I wore a life jacket. You hit something and you get thrown from the boat or something. I got a life jacket on.
From years in the past, even let's say a Category 2 hurricane completely alters the waterways. Over here, the sandbars move overnight.
Yep.
So not let alone that. Now you have trees, cars, boats, docks, homes.
Yep.
In some instances, it's pretty crazy.
Yeah. So we got out there and there was so much debris piled at the end of our dock because that was kind of the waterway that the water rushed basically from the Gulf across to the bay and emptied out into Pine Island Sound, seemed like right at our dock. And there were restaurant signs from Andy Rossi Lane, Mucky Duck sign, the RC Otter sign, the Key Lime Bistro sign, all this stuff.
Your whole row of businesses.
Yeah, a whole row of businesses. I climb over it and I get and I look and I see the building still there. And I'm like, how is that still there? And it's
like walking out of those jungle movies. And you got the beach. You're like, oh my God, it actually looks pretty good here.
I ran and got my keys out, opened the door, walked inside, and was like, I could go to work in here. It was you could, on the baseboard, you could see there was that much water in the office. And it was just muddled on the floor.
Did that spark some life in you where you're like, okay, we actually have a chance at rebuilding this whole thing right now?
Yeah. So somebody had got there before we did and chainsawed. I think it might have been the fire department, just kind of a pathway through there. Because there was so much vegetation down and cleared out some, a little area there. And it looked like somebody had been using our little beach there to land some equipment because you
Right.
couldn't go over the causeway. So somebody, it looks like, brought a barge in there and unloaded some equipment.
That or search and rescue.
Yeah, search
so
and
many
rescue.
instances, people stayed in their house, as we were just talking before this.
Yeah, right.
If you're not from Florida, you're kind of hard-headed. You're just ride it out.
Yeah.
And then you go, the higher you go, and you lock yourself in an attic. Next thing you know,
Yeah.
pretty scary.
Yeah. Yeah. So, was encouraged by that. And then we went down to a property that my friend has built. He's, like I said, there's a lot of home construction.
Right.
And went down to one of his properties, one of his customers' places, went inside and looked around. And it was like, well, it's not too bad. Then he had a little, one of those Gem electric cars. And we got pushed that out into the driveway, got in that. And we checked on a bunch of other houses he was working on.
Right.
I was like, wow, Captiva's not that bad. It seemed like Captiva seemed like Charlie was worse on Captiva than,
Well, Charlie was really concentrated. Just north of that. So.
than Ian was. So I was encouraged by that. Hadn't seen Sanibel yet.
Right.
And it was like, well, okay, maybe it's not as bad as I was thinking.
Mm-hmm.
Our boats were still up in Alva. We had really no place to bring them back to. There's no docks. There's no,
And
there's
the
no
business is not starting up anytime soon.
Right.
At this point. So.
Right. We're getting a lot of calls from people who needed transportation out there.
Okay.
So if you can find us a dock on the mainland, because we don't have one, our boats are in Alva. No place to bring them back to. We might be able to work something out. And then we started talking with the Captiva community panel. They were really responsive to us. They got in touch with us very early on in the storm, after the storm, to say, what can we do to help you guys? We need to establish transportation out to Captiva, and we need basically a place to operate from and go to. And really the only place was Port Sanibel Marina.
Yep.
But it was pretty full. I mean, they couldn't handle any more load there.
Did your captain instincts kick in when, hey, you can bring the boats down? That's a possibility. You just drive. The waterways are open. But like we've mentioned, there's the unknowns in the water at the moment.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, like half the Sanibel Causeway at the beginning, half is in the water. So you're not operating a boat around that, or
Right.
is that in your head going through that?
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
process? Okay.
Sure. Yeah. So we ended up taking the boats from Alva and bringing them here to Marine Max.
Okay.
Yep. And we tied them up here just to be closer
Right.
to Sanibel, Captiva. Alva's, 3 hours.
And
that
no
way.
issues getting in here.
No, there weren't. We went slow. We went, the boats travel at 20 knots. We did 10 knots. We had 2 lookouts on the bow at all times, looking for debris in the water, which there was a lot of.
Yeah.
And we got the boats here, got tied up, and then we,
You started that rescue mission, essentially.
Yeah. So we
after that.
started, we were working with Lee County and the county commissioners on establishing a transportation system, because so the causeway is going to be out for a long time.
Right.
So we need to establish a transportation system from the mainland to Sanibel to Captiva. And
It's really amazing how the community always comes together in that instance, but not only possibly losing your business, but being able to provide support after that is truly amazing, because anyone in that situation, oh, I need help. But it's like, well, how can I help someone even though I just lost possibly everything?
right.
Yeah. Like if you never went to the business and saw, okay, the structure standing, you could have just been like, well, that's gone. I'm not even going to go out there and look at it, because it could be, your heart might sink.
Right.
But then provide that help still is truly unbelievable.
Yeah. Yeah. So, South Seas Resort got in touch with us. We've been partners with the resort since we were in business since 1986. We've been part of South Seas, and they got in touch with us and said, what can we do to get some of our workers out there? Just to help clean up the property. And I said, well, we're going out to Captiva with one of our boats tomorrow. You guys can ride with us.
Okay.
And so we did like everybody else did. We met at Big Lots.
Yep.
And then we carpooled here. They had a van. They dropped off their employees at the gate and walked down to the boat. The boat was right out there. And we had about 8 of us, and I think about 20 of South Seas people, mostly like the grounds people,
Right.
And the marina people. And we brought them out to Captiva. South Seas Marina was in pretty good shape. The docks were sound there because it's very well protected inside there. They would drop those guys off there. We went down to our place and found a little place where we could get the nose of our boat to the dock. And then we just started literally going around in the bushes, in the trash piles to find 2x6s.
Right. And
to start working on put something on the dock together. So because we're working on a transportation system with Lee County and to get people to Captiva. So we need to start putting stuff together. Mm-hmm. So we started putting, straightening nails.
Yeah, just anything you can do.
There's nothing open. We couldn't get nails at the hardware store. We couldn't get lumber. We couldn't get it out there. So what do we have out here? We have boards from all kinds of docks all over the place. So let's get some 2x6s and cut them to length. And we brought a generator and some saws with us and some chainsaws and started just trying to get a walkway down the dock established so that we could get 2 boats there.
And begin that process, which has carried us almost to today still in some instances. So that's amazing.
Yeah. Yeah.
As you work through that, I mean, like I said, it's been probably 9 months. If you fast forward to today, where are you guys at? I mean, the business is back operational. I mean, so much of the island has recovered and the community is continued to work together.
Yeah. So at the marina, we have the marina in great shape.
And that's McCarthy's Marina.
Yep. Yeah. We kept all our employees and kept them on as carpenters and plumbers and like land clears, chainsaws, and things
Back
like
to
that.
the good old days.
Yeah, right. And so we cleared up the property, fixed up the office, got that up and going, fixed up the dock. We got the dock 99% back. Just a little bit of work to do on the dock. And we didn't get the Lady Chadwick back out to Captiva until like June.
Without any repairs, just...
No, it had repairs.
Okay.
Yeah, we had gotten that. That was like you were saying, how are you going to get this boat back in the water, right?
Yeah.
So they had to dismantle that whole building. They had to move a whole bunch of other boats out of there. Right. We wait for the insurance investigation to be over.
You just got to wait for your place in line.
Yeah, exactly. That's what we're doing. And like, okay, their plan was to pick us, and this isn't Gulf Marine Yacht Works. This is the salvage company.
Right.
They had come in there. Their plan was to pick us up and put us on blocks in the spot we're in.
Okay.
Which is 450 feet away from the water. The travel lift, the machine that they used to put boats in and out of the water, was badly damaged in the hurricane.
Right.
And luckily, one of the guys, as soon as he could get there, he pickled the engine.
Okay.
So he saved the engine on it.
Oh, wow.
Filled it up with diesel fuel right up to the top and drained it out. And I think he had the motor running very quickly. The motor itself. But the lift has got a lot of electrical components on it, things like that are shot, cables that are pinched and crushed.
But that's, from a financial state, that's easier to replace than a massive engine.
Yeah, you would think. But so
I'm sure it adds some fast. That's boating.
So the crane company got us up, set on blocks, and then they wanted a ton of money to get us back in the water. They wanted they said it would take 7 days and $200,000 to put us back in the water because they're picking us up with a crane, and the crane would lift us. Well, they have to build the crane first, put all the counterweights on the crane. They needed 2 big cranes. They needed 2 big cranes just to pick us up and set us on blocks. Okay. And then they could move about 50 feet a day. So they would pick us up, move us 50 feet, block us, dismantle the crane, take all the counterweights off it.
Right.
Move the crane, reassemble the crane.
Okay. Yeah, the fact that they could do that in 7 days is impressive.
Right. And then they had the shipyard had the travel lift company come down and look at the travel lift, and they were up there for like a whole day in a bucket truck with lasers to make sure the structural integrity was okay and straightened out like that. The travel lift company said, well, okay, it's, the engine runs okay, but it's going to take us probably about a year to be able to repair this thing, and about $100,000. So one of the guys, this guy, Kevin, who the shipyard had kept employed throughout this process, he was listening to them, and he went home and he done on his computer. He downloaded all the manuals to it, And the next day he was driving the travel lift around the shipyard.
Wow. It's amazing. We say it every day. Like, so many people just don't read the instructions, and you can actually figure out about 99% of things if you look at a diagram or read a manual.
Yeah, he had bypassed a lot of the stuff on it that it didn't need. It wasn't obviously not working at 100%, but
it did the job.
Yeah, exactly. I don't need this thing. I just need this to get me to the water. So we picked the boat up, we moved it down close to the water, reset up the tenting for the sandblasting.
Okay.
Then we have to sandblast the hull, paint the hull,
Put all the components back in.
on us back into the boat, and we got the boat out to Captiva in June. So then we start with window. I had to have all new windows made. So
Are the other boats running at this time by summer?
Yeah,
Or-
they're running. We started running back in December. The other
And
boats.
people were coming down.
No, us.
Okay.
We're open, but
Yeah.
To who?
Oh, I had the beginning of summer. I was at the mall and some lady rolls the window down. Hey, is there any restaurants on the water? I'm like, I'm not sure if you're from here, but the answer to that is no. For many reasons.
Yeah. So then when they opened up the causeway to automobile traffic, they were letting workers over with passes after the bridges first. But then was it January 3rd? I believe they started letting cars over. And the businesses that were open, of course, wanted people to come. There were a lot of people who weren't ready, for people to come over. And
A lot of unknowns. Still into that moment.
I mean, you worry about looting. You worry about all kinds of stuff. We were looted at our place twice. At
Really,
the marina before they even opened the causeway. So we were getting looted by workers who were out there working.
That's got to be tough.
Yeah, it was. And they stole our only bit of joy. We had one of those flat top griddles out there, and every day it would be somebody's job to. When we were working on the dock, cook lunch, a little cheeseburger or something. Cheeseburger, it was awesome, right? And then we come in and work one day and it was gone. You gotta be kidding me,
Yeah.
You could see where they drug it across the parking lot and loaded into a truck. I was just so mad.
Once you got, the business operating again, and you had the other 3 boats working, was there a plan of action hey, these are some new precautions we have to take in place or checklists we need to follow following the storm, or did business really just pick up back kind of where I left off?
I mean, as far as the safety part of navigating the boats around, that was pretty much out of the way by the time we started carrying passengers, because we were traveling our route for, going from here. We ended up working out a deal with one of the restoration companies at South Seas, and we were running from Tarpon Point Marina to Captiva. We brought 98 workers a day out there and back every day on our boats to restore the resort.
Right.
And so we're traveling the waterways a lot, and we had pretty much, established our, safety guidelines and criteria. And
that procedure is the same whether it's workers or paying tourists.
Oh,
right?
yeah, absolutely.
You're still following those compliance and procedures that
100%.
protect yourself, really.
Oh, yeah. Even the workers are basically they're customers.
Okay.
They're passengers.
Right.
And you got to treat all passengers the same. So that safety guidelines.
You hold the same liability whether you're helping someone out or providing a service.
Sure, absolutely. Yeah. I mean, as a professional, you have to look at it like that too.
Right.
So when we started running trips, we were pretty comfortable and knew, enough about the waterways to know that it was safe enough to go to where we needed to go.
Right.
Go to Cabbage Key and go to Usepa and things like that.
As a captain with that, it's safe, but for the average boater, we have so many customers that come from the north down to Florida. How important is it to understand, things do change, and whether that's updating maps or taking it slow.
Right.
As a captain, you hold those responsibilities.
Yep. Yeah, absolutely. You see so many people they run into problems because they're just not willing to slow down. You see something that doesn't look right, you slow down. And it seems so simple, but it's so hard for people to realize that. If I slow down, everything will happen so much slower.
Yeah.
It'll be less catastrophic if something does happen. But you just see people just bombing along and they'll hit the stuff in the water. Yeah.
Well, I'm sure even on your daily tours, you see boaters out there that are oblivious to an extent. And you have to take precaution first and be that safe boater.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. The onus is on me, the licensed operator,
right,
to act responsible, even though I may have the right of way or the situation doesn't require me to take action. I still have to take action because I'm a professional. These people are not. And when it comes down to it, I'm the one that knew better.
Right.
I could see what was happening.
On you.
Yeah.
Awesome. So you're into summer. Lady Chadwick's back in the water. Does the Coast Guard need to come out and do any approval processes since that boat was salvaged, I guess, technically?
Yeah.
But what was that process like?
So before we went back in the water, we had the Coast Guard come down and examine everything that we fixed on the boat. And after we went back in the water, the Coast Guard went on a sea trial with us.
Okay.
To make sure the systems are all operational and everything is working, steering, propulsion, electricity, all that stuff is working like it's supposed to. So we went through that process already with the Coast Guard. And now basically we've worked on a lot of once we got back out to Captiva, we worked on a lot of the cosmetic stuff.
Do you have to do that Coast Guard approval every year when you put it on the hard for service, or was this just because of the hurricane and the rebuild?
Both. Yeah, both.
Okay.
So we had to, every 2 years, a dry dock inspection. And then this time there was a little extra because of the damage to the boat. So they came out and approved the repairs. Okay. And now we have to do our annual safety inspection. Yeah. So that happens every year. It's topside inspection. And, we have to demonstrate, a lot of drills, in the boat, firefighting drills, abandoned ship drills, man overboard drills with the Coast Guard.
And these are all forecasted out. Hey, we know we're doing it this day.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. We have it all centers around your COI date, your certificate of inspection date.
Right.
Yeah.
And then general maintenance is the same way to keep, now that the business is operational again, it's, okay, we can set aside, these 3 days for maintenance in between trips, or is it on that yearly calendar, you just know, hey, I can make it until September?
Yeah, there's daily maintenance.
Yeah, there's always going to be your
monthly
routine.
maintenance, right? And then annual maintenance.
Okay.
So we always try to do our annual maintenance in September.
Awesome.
Yeah. This September, we're not doing any maintenance. We've done a year worth of maintenance.
Yeah. So. You called off one more year.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Well, that's great. I appreciate you sharing the story. Is there anything else about Captiva Cruises, maybe where people can find you, when you guys operate, all that fun stuff?
Yeah, we operate 7 days a week. We run out of McCarthy's Marina on Captiva, which is a great little spot right behind the bubble room.
Excellent.
We offer a variety of cruises, some longer ones, some shorter ones, ones that are really geared towards family and kids. We have all of our cruises are appropriate for everyone. Our trip to Cabbage Key is probably my favorite trip that we do.
Awesome.
We go up there every day for lunch, cheeseburger in paradise, and see dolphins along the way.
Oh, yeah.
And sunset cruises are fantastic. Captiva sunsets are pretty special, and we're available for private charters.
Okay.
Weddings, rehearsal dinners, anniversaries, birthday parties, all kinds of stuff, company outings.
You name it, you guys can accommodate appropriately.
Yep.
That's awesome. And what's the name of the website?
It's CaptivaCruises.com.
Excellent. Well, great. Thank you, Bob, for sitting down with me. I appreciate it. Hopefully our audience learned a lot there. And knows what it takes to, withstand a hurricane over here at Southwest Florida.
Right.
Awesome.
Hopefully we won't experience it anytime again.
Yeah. Awesome. Well, thank you again.
You're welcome.
And appreciate the time.